This is my women's packing list for the Tour du Mont Blanc. I hiked the loop route in 9 days in the end of August and the beginning of September. I firmly believe in the less you bring, the better your walk is gonna be. So this is all the things I brought to hike the TMB. I'm Lainey, and this is Days We Spend. Let's start with the backpack. I brought the Gossamer Gear Kumo 36 Fast Pack. This was sent to me for testing, and I fully recommend this bag after using it for the 9 days on the TMB. It was comfortable, carried everything I needed, lightweight, and it did really well in the rain. I'm 5'1" and I have about a 15-inch torso, so this is the size small medium, kind of barely fit me. So if you're any smaller than me, this bag will not fit you. I really like the running vest style front because I just started to prefer carrying all my things in the front, and sometimes I do like to kind of jog on trail. You don't need a big bag to walk this route, and you might want something that even has more comfort, like an Osprey. I don't mind having a sweaty back, so to me this bag is perfect for me. This backpack is water resistant, so you need to add an interior liner. This is the one from Gossamer Gear. It's essentially a trash compactor bag size, and it's just a plastic bag so that you put it inside and everything stays dry inside your bag. This backpack is treated with a water resistance coating, so the water wouldn't soak into the material, and we did get some really heavy rain on the TMB, so be prepared for that. I do not recommend anything bigger than a 36-liter bag for this trek, and even then I could have done with something that was more of a 28-liter or a 24-liter bag and been absolutely fine. My husband is kind of a crazy person, and he took a 7-liter lumbar pack, so he also has a packing list for that if you want to go even lighter, which I don't do that, but you can. Clothing. I recommend wearing one outfit for hiking and bringing one outfit for the refuges. And that's it. I decided to wear a long sleeve sun hoodie. This one is from Ibex Merino Wool, and I chose merino wool because I knew I was not going to be washing my laundry very frequently, if at all. I washed this shirt once on the route, and I don't think it smelled, and I sweat a lot.
You smelled great.
My husband said I smelled fine. So I chose a merino sun hoodie. They're not the sturdiest, and they do show a lot of wear from using them every day on the trail. So while a synthetic will have a lot more durability, I chose something that was less stinky for my own general comfort. And I recommend long sleeves and a hood because the alpine sun is really, really strong. So even if it's really hot outside and you want to hike in a tank top, you're going to get a really bad sunburn. I chose to hike in pants because I didn't want to slather sunscreen all over my legs. But if I was hiking in July or early August, maybe I'd hike in shorts. Pants I found were awesome. I just went with a pair that I use all the time. These are from Mountain Hardwear, and they're the petite short version because I'm really short. You don't need to get the same pair of pants that I have. These are just the ones that I really like, and I've been wearing these for 2 years, and I think they're very comfortable for me. I prefer something with an elastic waistband because it's much faster to pull it up and down when you're peeing outside versus something with like belts and buckles. And while like a belt and a buckle might look cute, I don't think it's very comfortable with a backpack or very fast on trail. I wore a merino wool bra from Brandwin Merino. This is their sports bra, and I love everything merino wool, and this brand is one of my favorite brands for underwear of all time. I never washed it once, and I just hung it up and aired it out every day, and it was great. I wore a pair of merino wool underwear from Brandwin. These are full coverage underwear. What I actually do is I bring 2 pairs of the same underwear, one that I'm wearing and one that I've washed or rinsed out at least in the refuge. And so there's always a clean pair or a semi-clean pair in my bag ready for me. So after I'd shower, I'd change into the new pair. Even if it's still kind of damp from being washed, it's fine. It'll dry on my body. I only brought 2 pairs of socks total for the whole route. Both of these are merino wool hiking socks, and you want good hiking socks, not athletic socks, good merino wool hiking socks, because I didn't get a single blister on this trail. And this one's from Farm to Feet, and this one is from Darn Tough. They're both excellent brands. I love these socks. I've been using them for years. I brought 2 pairs of socks so that I can change them out if I wanted to, but also I was usually washing one and then they would be drying while the other one I'd be wearing. The only problem I ran into is I was always wearing my hiking socks. I do wish I brought a third pair of socks. Those would be just for my evening clean, cozy socks in the refuges when it was really cold at night, but I made do with the 2 pairs and it still worked fine. It was just a little less convenient. I like to wear sock liners underneath my hiking socks. I've been doing this since I was a teenager. That's just how I always like to hike. What it does is it creates another layer of friction. So the sock is not rubbing against you, it's rubbing against another sock. These are silk sock liners from REI. They look awful and gross now because I've been using these for 2 years or something. They don't hold up very long, but they do the trick because I have no blisters. I brought a couple other clothes for layers and for the refuges. I have a bralette from Brandon Merino, and this is what I would change into after I showered, and I'd wear this until bedtime. I've used this bralette from Brandon Merino for years, and I love it. I've linked all the different items that I've mentioned in the description below. I've been using these brands for years and I love them. Doesn't mean you need to use these exact ones, but I do recommend checking them out. I have a second pair of pants for the refuges. These are the exact same pants in black as my hiking pants, and only because they're really, really lightweight. If I was to do this again, I would bring something different like a merino wool pair of cozy pants or leggings, because most people were just wearing like really comfy athleisure wear in the huts. Again, I prioritized what was my lightest weight pair though, because the weight of your bag really matters. After I showered, I'd change into a really comfy and slightly oversized merino wool t-shirt. This one is from Unbound Merino. This was something I would also be sleeping in, so I wanted it to be something really comfy and cozy. For sleeping, I was just wearing this shirt and my underwear. I'm very comfortable wearing my full coverage underwear and the t-shirt like walking to the bathroom. You might not, you might want to bring some kind of pajama, but I don't recommend bringing it if you're comfortable enough. Just wearing the minimum. You're going to need a couple warm layers, and I brought my merino wool half zip fleecies jacket. It's got like thumb holes and a zipper. I've had this thing for 10 years. It's from Icebreaker. My merino wool fleece is heavier than like a polar fleece sweater, but I prioritized my merino wool because I knew I wasn't washing it and I knew that it would get smelly. So I did not smell wearing this great little sweater. A puffy jacket. I love a puffy jacket with a hood. This one's from Cotopaxi. Yeah, it gets really cold up there and you're gonna want something really nice and cozy. And so I brought my puffy and wore it every single day. And then at nighttime, I would curl it up and treat it like a little hug pillow. You need good rain gear. I have a Patagonia torrent shell rain jacket that I've had for many years. You can choose to do a poncho or like a rain jacket combo. And I often wore it on chilly mornings also, just as like a wind shell. Right before we started this hike, I checked the weather and we were walking into a couple really bad storms. So I decided to bring some rain pants. These are new to me. I love them. I finally found a kind that were comfortable enough for me. These are from Salomon and they're stretchy. Yeah, they're stretchy. They have some stretch, which is so rare for a rain pant. They were worth every penny. I did not die on some of the passes because I had these pants on. In the past, I've just sucked it up with like shorts and be like, I'm fine. No, we're in the Alps. I really recommend rain pants if you're someone who gets cold easily. I always like to bring something that works as a scarf, a headband, balaclava. You need something that is multi-purpose, and I really like using a buff for that. I also brought a merino wool beanie. This is from Ibex, and it's so small and it kept me so warm and I wore it every day. I highly recommend this beanie, and it's this super cute purple. I also brought gloves that are merino wool because when they get wet, they stay relatively warm. These are also from Ibex. I can't believe it took me so long to get like nice gloves on trail. There's a theme, I know. I'm not sponsored by merino wool. I just really like it. Last thing I wore is a good sun hat. I've had this one for years. It's from Sunday Afternoons, and just you need something to block the sun because the UV rays are strong, as I said. So get a good sun hat and make sure you wear it. That's all the clothing I brought, but the more important thing than clothes, almost more important, is your shoes. I'm a huge fan of the trail runners. These are the Ultra Lone Peak 9s. If you are not a trail runner person, this is not the trail to start to be a trail runner person, but if you like a low top, I highly recommend something with a wide toe box and that's really flexible so that your feet stay really comfortable. I saw a lot of people wearing waterproof shoes and boots, and while you can wear those on this hike, I always prefer something that's a little more breathable. towel personally. If it gets wet, it dries overnight. I never had to deal with multiple days of wet feet, so it wasn't an issue for me. These are zero drop shoes. If you're not a zero drop person, you can look at like a Topo or a Hoka shoe. Those are also really popular brands for trail runners. I brought a pair of sandals for the huts. I thought I would wear these more than I did, and I love these sandals so much. These are the Zero Shoe D-Trail sandals. They're their newest one, and they're so comfortable to walk around in. But because the weather was kind of cold, I didn't end up wearing my sandals kind of at all. I ended up using the Refuge Crocs a lot more. At first, I thought I was going to get really grossed out by these Crocs. I was like, oh, they're like shared shoes. Like, what if you get athlete's foot, which I've had before, and it was not fun. So I ended up just kind of getting over that grossness and using the Crocs. And so I didn't need to bring these shoes. And next time, I don't think I'll bring them at all just to save the weight. You're going to need some things to sleep in at the refuge, and that is a sleep sack. These are mandatory at all of the refuges. You can just bring something that's kind of small and cozy. This one's from Cocoon. I chose my Cool Max material one that's really stretchy because it's really comfortable. A little heavier than the other one I own, which is a silk sleep sack, but I chose the more comfortable, slightly warmer one because the season we were walking in. You need a sleep sack though. There are comforters and there are pillows, but they're, you know, the linens to me felt all really clean, but you always need something between you and those sheets. And you're in a shared dorm, so you're going to need to bring some kind of eye mask and earplugs so you can sleep amongst other people. Toiletries and hygiene. I brought a really small toiletry kit, toothbrush, toothpaste tabs. I like the little tabby kinds because they're not liquid and they're lighter weight. A bite guard, I grind my teeth, and floss. A comb, a hair tie. I decanted my deodorant into this little tin. Nail clippers, a little bit of lavender essential oil so I could spritz like one spritz on my pillow or on my eye mask and sleep in lavender smell instead of sweaty bodies. I bring some Q-tips or cotton swabs. I wear hearing aids and I like to keep my ears really clean and dry. Solid face moisturizer that I chopped up and put into a little container. This is a bar of Dr. Bronner soap in a Matador soap case. This is my favorite piece of gear of all time because when you close it, the soap still dries and it doesn't get all gross inside. Hand sanitizer. Micro towel for showering. I adore the Sea to Summit one. It is kind of like a chamois though. You have to like wipe yourself off like this. It's not everyone's favorite, but I love it because it's so small and it's an enormous towel. It's a huge towel. I like to bring sunscreen in these tins. These are zinc sunscreen from All Good. There's a tinted one for my face and a white one for my neck and my hands. I have two kinds of chapstick. One is in SPF. The other one is like a nighttime one because the air is so dry up there. When you have to go pee on trail, I like to use a Kula cloth. This is a pee rag that's reusable and you clip it on the outside of your bag and then it dries after you use it. All sorts of great tips about using the Kula cloth in other videos. You want to leave no trace on trail, so instead of using toilet paper and having to carry it out, really easy to use a reusable pee cloth and then you just wash it in the evenings like real fast in the sink. I did bring an emergency number 2 kit, which is like some toilet paper, some plastic bags, and a little trowel because if you have to go to the bathroom in the wilderness, you need to dig a 6-inch hole. There are lots of places to go to the bathroom and real bathrooms on trail, but you are kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It is worth bringing a little bit of emergency supplies. First aid. You're going to need to bring a good first aid kit with you because you're out in the middle of nowhere sometimes. So I made myself a little more robust kit than I typically use for some of my hiking on the Camino. So this is everything I brought for first aid. It's not too bad actually. Some ibuprofen, probiotics, melatonin for sleeping, arnica gel for rubbing on my sore knees, lamb's wool or hiker's wool so that you can use it to prevent a blister or cushion a current blister, 4 band-aids in various sizes, antibiotic ointment packets for cuts, 2 antiseptic towelettes, stomach medicine. I have Tums, Pepto-Bismol, and Imodium, a little bit of pre-cut KT tape, kinesiology tape. So in case my knees were really hurting, I could use this. That's because I've had a history of tendonitis. I've used this in the past, so I brought it in case I needed it on this trip. A tiny sewing kit with 1 needle and some thread, a few safety pins, which I also used as clothespins on the laundry lines. Now let's talk about accessories and electronics and everything else that I brought. I wear hearing aids, so I had to bring a couple pieces of equipment for that. One is my dehumidifier case that I actually put a little dehumidifier packet inside an old pill bottle, so my hearing aids fit into this and it's waterproof. I also have a little case with extra batteries, and then I have a little bag of like some hearing aid accessories, which has even more batteries and some of the little tips and things that you need for your hearing aids. And I attached a hard of hearing sign to my backpack because I cannot hear if someone is behind me and trying to pass me, especially when there's lots of runners on trail. So it's helpful for people to know that you can't hear. This is the international sign for hard of hearing or deafness. I made this myself and I laminated it, and then I just safety pinned it to my backpack. I brought an additional dry bag. This is from Sea to Summit because I wanted to double, triple check that my electronics and hearing aid equipment was extra dry. You don't need an extra dry bag, but I do like that extra layer of protection for my electronics. I brought this big charger from Epica and it has multiple ports, so I was able to share the plugs because there's oftentimes not enough plugs in a refuge, so it's helpful to have something with multiple places for other people to charge off of your device as well. I have the cable for that. I brought a spare battery. This one is really old from Magix. I don't think they make this anymore, and like the cable to charge this battery, but it's a 10,000 milliamp hour battery. I recommend getting some kind of battery pack because oftentimes your phone or your battery pack will charge in an area not even close to your bed. So I would charge the battery and then I would walk around with my phone charging off the battery at night or at dinner, because then I wasn't worried about my phone getting taken from the communal charging docks. I also brought my phone, but that's being used to film this video right now. I also brought a 2-liter waist bag or bum bag, fanny pack. I used this when I got to the huts at night, and so that I could carry my valuables on me. You don't need something like this, but I use this out of habit from walking a lot of routes on the Camino de Santiago. And inside the waist bag, I always bring my wallet. You want something that has zippers for coins because you're in Europe, and any other valuables I wanted to carry around the refuges with me were always in this waist bag. Any of my valuables I'd put in this and sleep with it, so I wasn't worried about any of my cash getting stolen. A Hero Clip carabiner. I love this one because I would often hang it off my bunk, and then I would hang my clothes off of it so that they would like air out if I had to have them inside because it was raining. Also, you can just clip all sorts of things. You can use this in the showers, like hang up your towels, your toiletry bag. I'd clip it to the side here and use it for my hat. All sorts of uses for a carabiner, but I particularly like the Hero Clip because it gives you even more uses. I brought a good pair of sunglasses. These are from Ombres, and I included the side shields in them because you're in the alpine environment, lights reflecting from everywhere. Look cool, wear your sunglasses. I really like the Ombres ones because they stay on my head really comfortably, especially for me as someone who wears hearing aids. I find that sunglasses kind of bother my ears. So I really love that these are a cord and an armless sunglass because I'm not afraid of breaking the arm, but the cord also means that they're just very comfortable for me on my head. I brought a small mini tripod because we make videos, and I brought a VND filter for my phone because we make videos. You don't need these things, they're quite heavy. I brought a little lunch bag for my snacks, and this is insulated. You don't need something like this, but I tend to like to bring a lot of picnics and carry cheeses, and so having a little dedicated lunch bag is really nice. I also brought a Fanoon spork thing, but I only use this once. You don't really need this. We more often use the pocket knife that my husband carried, and that was awesome for cutting up cheeses and salamis and breads. I didn't carry this whole bottle, but I brought some of these. These are salt stick hydration chews, kind of like drinking Gatorade, but it's electrolytes in a chewable form. I'm a very sweaty person, and so I brought these to keep myself hydrated and my muscles from cramping up. I just kept them though in like a little Ziploc bag, but I ate them all, so there's no evidence of that. For water, I brought the ability to carry 2 liters of water, and it was only a few times that I actually filled this all the way up to the top. Because I have a running vest style bag, I have these 2 small flasks that are 500 milliliters each. And then I brought this collapsible bottle from Katadyn. You don't need a filter bottle. You can get water most places that is clean water. It is nice to have the filter in case you do want to fill up from a stream. But for me, the choice to bring this bottle is because it collapses. So when I wasn't using it, it was just really small on the side of my bag instead of taking up all the space. Trekking poles. I think you really need trekking poles or hiking poles for this route because they stop you from falling. They get you leverage when you're going up those passes. You can use cheaper poles. You can also use really nice poles. This is my first time ever using really nice poles. These are from Gossamer Gear. They're ultra light and oh my gosh, it doesn't feel like I'm carrying anything in my hands. Get yourself a good pair of poles. You can buy them in Chamonix or you can just check them in your luggage. That's what we did. We checked these in our luggage. So that's everything I packed for the Tour du Mont Blanc. I shared just a handful of items with my husband, and that was mostly just our pocket knife and some of our filming gear, which I'm not including in this video. But right now, I'm gonna pack the bag and tell you how much it weighs. So this is the backpack with the shoes I'd be wearing, the clothes I'd be wearing, and my hiking poles. We're gonna weigh the bag, but there's no snacks and no water in this. So when you're on trail, account for a couple extra kilos, maybe 2 to 3 more kilos of weight in the bag. The bag weighs 4.75 kilograms or 10.4 pounds. Thank you so much for spending this day with me. We walked the route in 9 days. We went counterclockwise. If you want more information on the TMB, we've got our vlogumentary. We've also got our whole information about planning your TMB because yeah, there's a lot to know about this route. Have a great time up in those Alps. I'm Lainey. Thanks for spending this day with me.